welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Nyx, and this is a space where we explore the energetic and cosmic patterns moving through our lives so we can navigate them with more awareness, more intention, and a whole lot more self-trust. Now, today we're moving into Cancer season, but before we get into anything, if you've been rocking with me when I finally committed myself to this channel, we started this journey in the dead of winter, in Capricorn's heavy, clarifying, strip it all back energy, and we've been moving season by season, layer by layer, through something that I don't think any of us fully had words for when we started this journey. Now, Capricorn's energy, it grounded you, right? Aquarius expanded you, Pisces softened and cleared you, Aries lit a fire under your butts and got you moving, Taurus asked you to build with more precision, Gemini surfaced the story running in our minds, and now we're here, Cancer season, midsummer, the summer solstice, and the energy has shifted. Something is different now. Confirmation from thunder. If you've been paying attention to yourself, to your life, to the way things have been moving in the last few weeks, you can probably feel it too. There is more air in the room, a little more light coming through, like something that was pressing down has finally begun to lift. And I don't think that's by accident. Honestly, I think it's just a result of the work. And Cancer season is here to meet you in it. Not to push you harder necessarily, not to demand more of you, but to hold you and to break you open in the most beautiful of ways. So before we begin, let's just take a nice big breath together. So slowly in and exhale out. Now, I open this space with the intention that whatever comes through today serves the highest good of everyone listening. May it bring softness where there has been armor. May it bring courage where there has been hesitation. And may it remind every single person here how far they've actually come. All right, let's begin. So we're going to just start talking about the Cancer archetype. First, now, Cancer is the fourth sign of the zodiac, and it arrives literally right at the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, which is significant because just as the sun reaches its peak, the light is at its fullest, Cancer turns inward, away from the outer world, back into the inner one, back into its shell. Now, after Gemini's mental speed, all that information, all that inner dialogue, all those tabs open, Cancer is the energetic exhale. It's the return to the body, to feeling, to instinct over intellect. Now, Cancer is ruled by the moon, and that matters more than some people may realize because the moon doesn't move in straight lines, right? It ebbs and it flows, it waxes and it wanes, it cycles, and Cancer carries the same quality. This is not an archetype that operates on logic and linear progress. It operates on feeling, on gut knowing, on the deep, almost cellular sense of what is safe, what is true, and what needs to be protected. Now, at its core, Cancer is the nurturer, the keeper of the inner sanctum, the one who creates home, not just as a physical place, but as a feeling, as a sense of safety and belonging that travels with you. There's also a fierceness to Cancer that gets overlooked because Cancer is soft, genuinely, beautifully soft, but it is also one of the most protective archetypes in the zodiac. When Cancer loves something or someone, it will guard it with everything it has. The softness is not weakness. That tenderness is not fragility. It is, in fact, one of the most courageous things a human being can truly embody. The willingness to feel deeply and to love fiercely in a world that often punishes both. Now, Cancer also holds memory, it holds ancestry, it holds the thread back to where you came from, your roots, your lineage, the emotional inheritance that you carry. So this season tends to bring those things to the surface, not always comfortably, but always with purpose, right? Now, the shadow side of Cancer, and this is important, when this energy is unbalanced, it can show up as emotional overwhelm, as retreating too far inward, as clinging to what's familiar when it no longer serves. The shell of the crab is protection, but it can also become a prison. The shadow of Cancer is staying safe when life is actually asking you to be open, and that is what we're navigating this season, okay? The medicine here is not to toughen up. It's the opposite, actually. It's allowing the armor to come off. It's trusting your softness is your strength. It's being brave enough to feel everything that's been waiting to be felt and letting it move through you instead of holding it in the shell, okay? Vulnerability this season is not a liability, it is the gateway. Now, let's talk about the cosmic landscape surrounding Cancer season because I feel like this is a genuinely significant one. There's a lot moving, and the timing of it feels like deeply intentional. I'm just gonna pull my note on over. Turn on. Turn on. Okay. All right. So now, as I said earlier, Cancer season officially kicks off June 21st, which is the summer solstice. Thunder, agree. And I want you to sit with that for a little bit because the solstice is one of the most powerful energetic thresholds of the year, right? It's the most mute. Sorry. Okay, I got too many things going on. It's the moment of maximum light. And then almost immediately, we begin the slow turn back inward. Longer nights, deeper introspection, the outer world starting to quiet so the inner world can speak, okay? It's a natural invitation to come home to yourself, essentially. Now, right at the same threshold, Jupiter moves into Leo on the 29th. And this is big. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, abundance, opportunity, and growth. And it has been moving through Cancer, which means it's been amplifying everything Cancer represents: emotional healing, nurturing, home, inner security, that energy that has been building, right? Or that, yeah, the energy that's been, that energy that has been building. We are in Mercury retrograde shadow phase, so excuse the fumble of the words because it's going to happen. And now Jupiter is going to be stepping into Leo, shifting the collective focus from the interior world toward expression, towards courage, towards showing up and being seen. There's a beautiful synchronicity there, okay? Cancer does the feeling and the healing, and then Jupiter in Leo says, now take it into the world. And then also on the 29th, Mercury stations retrograde in Cancer. And before anybody sighs and goes with the woe is me, oh my God, Mercury retrograde, danger, danger, mayday, mayday, mayday. Nope, let's try to reframe this, okay? Now, Mercury retrograde in Cancer is not here to ruin your plans. It's here to do what Cancer does: take you inward, into memory, into emotion, into the conversations you haven't had and the feelings that you haven't fully processed, okay? Old things may resurface during this retrograde. That's what happens during a retrograde season. Past relationships, past visions of yourself, unresolved emotional threads. And the invitation is not to dread that. It's to finally meet those things with the awareness and the capacity you have now that you didn't have then, okay? You have more tools now than you did the last time you stood in that place, okay? So try to remember that and trust it. Trust the tools, trust that you've developed, trust how you've evolved, okay? Now on the 3rd of July, Mars conjuncts Uranus in Gemini, and this one brings a charge, a sudden activation, something that may feel like a disruption, but it's actually an acceleration. Ideas that have been building may suddenly need to move. Decisions that have felt stuck may suddenly become clear. This is a fast energy, so stay grounded in your body when it arrives. You need help? Do some meditation, breath work, go hug a tree, touch some grass. Do something grounding, okay? And then mid-season, around July 20th, we get something really layered. Jupiter in Leo simultaneously trines Neptune retrograde and opposes Pluto retrograde. Now, let me try to break that down. Jupiter trining Neptune is expansive, it's dreamy, spiritually open energy, okay? It's the kind of aspect that makes things feel possible, genuinely, deeply possible, in a way that goes beyond logic, okay? It's faith becoming tangible, so to speak. But at the same time, Jupiter opposing Pluto is a confrontation between expansion and deep transformation, between what you want to grow toward and what still needs to be dismantled to get there. Those two aspects happening simultaneously create a moment of profound tension and profound potential at the same time. Something can open very wide, but only if you're willing to let something old fall away at the same time, okay? So just pay attention to what's moving in your life around that window It's not random. And then finally on July 26th, the lunar nodes shift from Pisces and Virgo into Aquarius and Leo. Now, this is an 18-month karmic cycle beginning. Ooh, karma. Karma can be good, okay? The collective conversation shifts from healing and service towards authentic expression and community, from the private inner work towards public showing up, okay? And underneath all of this, Pluto continues its retrograde in Aquarius, still turning the collective inward, still asking deeper questions about power, transformation, structure, and what's truly driving us beneath the surface, okay? So this is a season of profound emotional movement, of things opening that have been closed for far too long. So with that said, let's get into the Alrighty, lovies, with all of that as our backdrop, let's move into the cards and see what guidance wants to come through collectively for Cancer season. Now, as always, this is a collective reading, so please only take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and trust your own intuition as you listen, okay? If something speaks to you, a color, a symbol, a feeling in your body as you look at the imagery, please pay attention to that. Sometimes what lands for you is the most important message, and please share it in the comments. I love hearing what moves for you, what comes to you, what clarity you have, all that jazz, okay? Now, before we dive all the way in, I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough of the layout. The first row here speaks to the internal landscape, the deeper energetic themes, moving through collectively beneath the surface, okay? The second row here speaks to the energies that may begin to show up in our day-to-day reality. The third row, which I'll be pulling from this deck here, this is our spiritual layer, what's available to us as guidance and support. And then lastly, I'll be pulling from this, my aligned guidance deck, for the integration card, okay? And then as always, I will round out this reading by pulling from my affirmations bowl. All right, now with that said, let's get started. Okay, so right here we have broken open. I feel like this card was meant to come out first. Okay, so just looking at the imagery here, we see this woman seated in a meditative state at the center of what looks like a lotus flower. She's got this like white aura around her, floating stars just drifting around her. Now the lotus petals, because petals is a word. The lotus petals, I don't know if you can see, but they're purple, and then down here, they're more green. And beneath that, you see what looks like wings of a bird, almost like she's being held and carried, okay? Now what's really like captivating for me is her energy centers. She's like lit up. All of her chakra centers are lit up. Right here in her pelvic bowl, you've got this fiery light between her root and her sacral chakra. But you got this brilliant white light that's kind of expanding from her heart center, but with what looks like an orb that's just surrounding it. Okay, and then you've got this beam of light shooting up from her crown chakra. So they're all activated. Her eyes are closed. She looks at peace, but she also looks focused, like she's in a zone, like something is happening through her that she's learned to trust, okay? I'm getting this feeling like we have arrived somewhere, not as a destination, but as a threshold, a new chapter of this journey, potentially. Because I feel like everything, and I really mean everything that we've been moving through since Capricorn season, all the weight, all the uncertainty, all the hard questions, the uncomfortable truth, and the moments that you probably wondered if it was actually working. It wasn't breaking you down. Instead, it was actually breaking you open, okay? All that stuff was never designed to break you down, even if it felt like it was, even when you were on the floor of it, even when you couldn't see the point, the heartache, the disappointments, the frustrations, the resistance, the fear, all of it was doing something beneath the surface you just couldn't see yet, okay? It was cracking you open. So for a lot of us, not everyone, it truly depends on where you are in your journey right now, okay? For a lot of us, we are at the moment where the external world is finally starting to meet all the internal work we've been doing, where what was happening on the inside is beginning to show itself on the outside, where the alchemy of everything you've moved through is starting to become visible. However, if you are just beginning your journey, welcome. This is a preview of what's possible when you do the work, okay? And if you're still in the thick of it, see this as a glimmer. Hold on to it. And if you've been digging deep for some time now, welcome to your becoming, okay? This is your next chapter. The breaking open doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy. Okay, I want to make that clear. It means you're stepping into a more evolved version of yourself. And with that, new levels, new devils, okay? New challenges that meet you at the frequency you're now at. Not to knock you back down, but to keep you growing. The armor is coming off, and it's not vulnerability, it's a graduation. I like that. That was the start of it. Next, we have a deep breath. I feel like I've pulled this a few times in a couple of readings. Now, it kind of lands the same way, like the universe is putting a hand on your shoulder and saying, slow down, it's okay, or you're okay. So as we can see in this imagery, we've got the statue. It has the quality of like an ancient Buddha, something timeless and still. On the crown of this statue, we have white and green flowers, and beneath it, pink and white flowers resting on what looks like lily pads. Everything about this image is peaceful and unhurried. Right away, it's almost like the exhale that comes after breaking open, right? Because being cracked open is profound. It's a lot. And what I'm sensing with this card here is that this Cancer season isn't just asking you to break open and keep pushing. It's asking you to break open and then receive. To crack open and then actually let something good come in. That's self-nourishment. And honestly, what greater season than Cancer, the season of nurturing, of coming home to yourself. Okay, so it's coming through a little bit right now is that a lot of us are loosening our grip on fear this season, not necessarily releasing all at once, but at least loosening it, letting it stop running the show, trusting ourselves and trusting the process a little bit more than we have been in the past. Okay, I'm also sensing something about connection, deeper, more intimate connection, not necessarily romantic, though for some it may actually be just that, but connection that acts as a mirror, new experiences, new relationships, or even existing relationships shifting into something more honest and more real. And through those connections, you're going to see yourself more clearly. You're going to understand your own patterns through grace rather than through pain, okay? So I want to encourage you personally to just kind of lean in to that. Be open. You're breaking open in one aspect, and this card is saying that the breaking open is also an invitation to be open to new experiences, to deeper bonds, to the vision of your life that starts to reflect back everything you've been working towards internally. Use discernment as always, okay? Trust your gut, but don't move from fear. Don't keep the shell don't keep the shell on when life is asking you to feel, okay? The opportunities for deeper connection with yourself, with others, with experiences, they're arriving now. For some, they've already started to show up. So let them. And here we have Waking the Lion. Beautiful card. Again, looking at the imagery, you see this lion. You can see the face, the fullness of the mane. It's very, very full and rich with that golden color. And then around the crown especially is kind of what's catching my eye. It looks like there's like energetic cords, like the nervous system lighting up, shooting upward and outward. Again, floating stars drifting around it. The lion is awake, fully, powerfully awake. And I just kind of want to acknowledge something a little funny as I'm looking at this card before I go deeper. It's not lost on me that Waking the Lion is showing up during Cancer season when the very next season is Leo. Like the lion is already stirring, already feeling what's coming. And it's like, I see you, boo. Okay, now putting that aside, what I'm feeling from this card is courage. Not the loud, armored warrior kind of courage that roars loudly. Not charging forward with your shield up, so to speak, but something quieter than that, something more grounded. This is the courage of someone who has been broken open, who has taken a deep breath, and who now, knowing nothing is guaranteed, knowing the path isn't fully visible, knowing success isn't immediate, decides to move forward anyway, okay? There's something in the center of your chest that won't stop pulling at you, quietly or loudly. You keep saying, keep going. There's something on the other side of this. And I'm hearing that you need to trust that, okay? Now, what's also coming through with this card is pride. And I mean that in the most beautiful sense of the word. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of how far you come. Be proud of every season that you've walked through, every moment you got back up, every time you chose yourself, even when it would have been easier not to, okay? No one can take that journey from you. Only you can dishonor it. And honestly, it takes real courage. And I feel this so strongly. It takes real courage to keep choosing yourself in a world that is constantly telling you that you're not enough. It takes courage to be open to connection. It takes courage to let yourself be broken open instead of staying protected inside the shell. So call on your strength this season. Call on your resilience. Call on that inner lion of yours. You are not going to fail as long as you move with courage and integrity, okay? I really like that first row. Very beautiful indeed. What a change from some past readings, eh? That usually kind of came out the gate a little heavier. This one's like just like, huzzah, we've arrived. Okay. Next up, we have yin yang for balance. Okay, so the first card in this row. Okay, sorry. Okay, so what I'm feeling right away is that this season is going to challenge us to find balance, real balance, not the performative version where everything looks even from the outside, but the actual internal experience of not feeling pulled so hard in one direction that you lose yourself in it, okay? Work and play, self and community, giving and receiving, output and restoration. The yin yang symbol represents duality, the light and dark, the masculine, the feminine, the higher self and the shadow self. And the reminder here, I feel, is that these are not opposites that need to be chosen between. Instead, they're complements. They need each other. They balance each other. You are not one or the other. You are both. And the invitation is to stop fighting that and start finding the harmony in it, okay? I want you to ask yourself, if trying to find balance in your life is causing you more stress than it's giving you peace, and can you sense where something is off? Okay, because that's not balance. That's a system that needs to be looked at honestly. Now, what's weighing you down? What's anchoring you to one side? Because anything that's having you essentially drag your feet, any person, a situation, a commitment, a belief, that is not contributing to your growth or your grace. It's an anchor, and anchors don't help you find balance. They keep you stuck on the bottom. Okay, so let go of what's weighing you down so you can actually find your middle ground. Okay, next up we've got Firefly. Hold on a second. We've got 4, and then we've got 4-4. Okay, 4-4-4 is not lost on me. That's protection. That's presence. That's your spiritual support system saying we're here. So just receive that for a second. Okay. Now back to this. Okay, I'm hearing a song, Lotus Flower Bomb. There's something about that, something about beauty emerging from depth, something about softness being powerful. Now, where yin yang was asking you to express all aspects of yourself, I feel like Firefly is coming in and says to do it with wonder, to do it with that youthful, magical, alive quality that used to come to you so naturally before life started asking so much of you, okay? Because I think somewhere along the way, a lot of us let that lightness go quiet. Okay, we let the laughter that used to come so easily, the joy that didn't need to be earned, the feeling of being invincible and curious and excited about just being alive, somewhere along the lines we kind of let that go quiet. And that energy wants to come back up in you this season. So if there is an opportunity to go do something fun, go do it. A pottery class, a sip and paint, a yoga class in the park, a walk somewhere beautiful with someone who makes you feel like yourself. Okay, go let your hair down, drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and just live for a moment. And do it with people who let you show up without a mask. That part feels important right now. You'd be surprised what kind of connections, what that kind of connection can do, how it can soften rigidity, how it can calm the nervous system, how it can deepen bonds and make you more productive and make you feel more human. Okay. I feel like the first row was like armor coming off. The old weight doesn't have to be carried anymore. And then Firefly is kind of saying, so now what? Now you get to be alive in a different way. So come alive again. Okay. You were meant to live this life. Life was not meant to live you. That's out loud. All right. So now we have not, and this is about relationships. Okay. So right out the gate, I'm hearing 3 things: energy cords, soul ties, and karmic connections. And before anyone gets in their feelings, karmic does not necessarily or automatically mean heavy or negative. Karmic can also mean something beautiful. It can mean significant. It can mean a connection that's here to teach you something real. Okay. So when I say relationships are going to be under a magnifying glass this season, I mean that across the board, with ourselves, with our people, with our work, with our romantic connections, with our family, and with spirit, okay? Some of us are going to be working out kinks, and to that I say communication is everything. Not communication from wounds, not communication from anger or spite or the desire to win, but asking yourself honestly before any difficult conversation, what outcome do I actually want here? Am I speaking from awareness or from pain? So take a breath before you open your mouth. It changes what comes out, okay? Now, some of you are going to be having your loyalty confirmed, seeing who really is in your corner. And some of you are going to be meeting people who show you what genuine loyalty actually feels like. Both are gifts, but don't get it twisted. Your loyalty is also going to be under a magnifying glass as well, okay? Now, for others, there's a commitment coming, a deepening, whether that's romantic. And yes, I'm feeling some of you may be moving into engagement energy. So congratulations, lovies, if that's you. Now, whether or not it's a commitment to yourself, to work, to a friendship, to path, okay? A path, sorry. Whatever it takes, whatever form it takes, the foundation is the same. Honesty, transparency, communication, vulnerability. Without those things, no commitment holds weight. And if this specific commitment is with yourself, that foundation matters just as much, okay? Maybe even more. So, what are you willing to commit to this season? And are you showing up for it with everything you have? Right? Just gonna put that there. So, next up. So here we have growth. Okay, I feel like this card confirms everything that we've been moving through this entire reading. Now, the symbol on this card, as you can see, is a spiral. And I just want to talk about that for a second because the spiral is one of the oldest sacred symbols known to humanity. It represents the cycle and journey of the human experience, the way we grow, not in straight lines, but in expanding circles, meeting the same themes again and again, but always from a different vantage point, right? Every time you arrive somewhere that looks familiar, a fear you faced before, a pattern you recognize, a crossroads that even feels like one you stood at before, you're not going backwards. You are meeting it as someone different, someone wiser, someone more expanded, someone who has more capacity than the last time they stood there, okay? Now, what this card is also telling me is that some of us are leaving things behind this season. Hallelujah. Outdated relationships, outgrown beliefs, situations and environments that no longer match who we are becoming. And some of those some of those things that are leaving are going to feel like a loss even when they are actually liberation. So just during that time, give yourself some grace, okay? The spiral keeps moving and so do you. Next up here, we've got psychic, and I feel like I kind of love how this card lands here. It makes sense to me anyways, at least in the context of being broken open. Now, what I'm getting with this card is that the cracking open that's happening collectively right now is also cracking open the channel. When the armor comes off, the intuition gets louder. When we stop spending so much energy protecting ourselves from feeling, we have more access to knowing. So some of you may be noticing your gifts getting stronger right now, your intuition sharpening, your dreams becoming more vivid, more textured, more meaningful, symbols and signs appearing with more frequency and more clarity. Okay, please pay attention to that. Don't dismiss what you're sensing. Don't talk yourself out of what you're feeling in your body, and don't second guess the knowing that arrives before the logic does, okay? I'm encouraging you here, meditate, sit with yourself in the quiet, create space for the channel to open wider, because what's available to you in terms of inner guidance and wisdom right now is more than you may realize, okay? The Great Awakening isn't something that happens to other people. It happens through ordinary humans who are willing to do extraordinary inner work. And honestly, beloveds, that is you. That's you. Okay? Now, how do we integrate this all together? Okay, so we will do that by dancing in the shadows. Right, so this card, as you know, is from my own deck, and I'm going to be honest with you. I know this card. I wrote this card. I know what it usually says and what it usually brings through when I pull it. But right now, seeing this coming at the end of this specific reading in this season, I'm getting something completely different. Now, because the meaning is the meaning, right? The shadow self is where your greatest growth lives. The parts of yourself you've been avoiding, the messy, the complicated, the parts of you that you deemed too ugly or too broken to look at directly. Those parts don't define you, okay? They refine you. And when you stop suppressing them and start integrating them, your energy stops being scattered and starts flowing freely. That's where your real power lives. Can you guys tell that Mercury shadow is messing with my communication already? Anyways, so with this card, that's always been what this card is kind of spoken to. But what I'm feeling right now more so is the opposite. It's joy, like genuine, lighthearted, almost giddy joy, because I'm not seeing someone meeting their shadows for the first time, afraid of what they'll find. I'm seeing someone who's already done that, who has already sat in the dark corners and turned the light on and said, oh, it's just me in here, right? I'm seeing someone who has befriended their shadows, who has learned to work with them, yield them at the right moments. Not yield, wield them at the right moments, use them as a compass instead of running from them, who has taken the parts they once deemed unworthy and said, you're mine, and I love you, and I'm not leaving you behind. And now they're dancing, not dramatically, not with a dark cloud overhead or anything like that, like just dancing, hands held, light finally pouring into the deepest corners that never got light before. And there's laughter in it, there's liberation, and this is beautiful. It's a beautiful, quiet sense of, I made it through that, and I'm still here, and I'm more whole than I've ever been. So that's the integration message for Cancer season. Not more digging, not more examining, not more pushing, dancing. Taking everything you've broken open, everything you've softened into, everything you've had the courage to face, and letting it become the fullest, most integrated version of you. The shadow was never your enemy. It was the other half of you. The other half of you, okay? Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. It was the other half of you that was waiting to be loved. And now you're dancing together. That's the becoming. Okay, now before I close out, let me just grab a little messenger. Oh my God. Okay, it wants to be read. Okay, so sweet treat. I guess this is a task for you. Choose one treat and enjoy it slowly without multitasking. Infuse it with gratitude before you take the first bite or sip, whatever it is. Pleasure is deeper when indulged with intention. Reach out to someone meaningful this month. Connection grows when you are fully present. Let joy be shared, not earned. This one didn't want to go back in the bowl, so I guess it is for y'all. The message is, you are crossing a threshold and something is being conceived. A new phase, a new commitment, a new version of you that requires maturity and integrity. Ancestral wisdom and intuition is asking to be honored. Balance, interesting, balance is not about being perfect, it's about being truthful. You are birthing a new chapter that requires integrity and self-respect. Look at your light and your shadow with equal maturity. What you commit to now shapes what grows next. Can't make that up. You saw me pull it out of the bowl. You saw me pull it out of the bowl. So if we step back and take the full picture of everything that came through today, Cancer season is not here to push you further. It's here to receive you. After all the grounding and the clearing and the activating and the building and the story examining, this season is the one that holds you while you open, that creates the conditions for everything you've been working toward and start becoming real in your life. You have been cracked open by this journey, and what comes through so clearly from the very first card to the very last is that the cracking open was never the enemy. It was always the point, because the shadow was never your enemy either. It was the other half of you that was just waiting to be loved. And Cancer season, this season, you finally stop running from yourself. You start dancing with all of it, the light, the dark, the healed, the healing, the version of you that started this journey and the version of you that's standing here now. You don't have to carry what you've been carrying anymore. The armor is off. The light is on and in. The light has been pouring in, and the life that's been waiting, it's here. Now, with that said, happy birthday to every tender, fierce, deeply feeling Cancer out there. The world needs more of your softness than it knows. Until next time, please take care of that beautiful energy of yours, and we will see you soon. Bye.